So that was interesting. I haven't raised my hand the entire time. First time I raise my hand, I get picked. So I don't know what that means, except I'm supposed to ask the question that I've been.
Well, here's what it means. We rarely pick someone who doesn't raise their hand, but we have done it, but because we want their conscious agreement of the interchange.
Right.
But we don't pick because someone has their hand in the air. We pick because there is a desire that is active within them, and they are somewhere in the vibrational vicinity. So we know that it's going to be a comfortable exchange. And so we came to that knowing, and you came to that knowing at precisely the same moment.
Wow.
That was a rendezvous point. Right. That was a manifestation where you knew it and we knew it at the same moment.
Absolutely. And you mentioned something earlier that I think 55 countries right now are watching this around or represented. And so my question ties into religion. And I think that could be significant considering there's so many different diverse people that are watching. And something that I learned when I was really just becoming an adult around 18, around that age anyway, was that to study as if your life depended upon it, because it does. When you get to that point where you're studying or you're seeking, it doesn't necessarily mean reading a book only, but just you're studying life. You're trying to seek out truth. And I've been doing this my entire adult life, and I constantly get led in one direction, and I absorb it.
How do you know when you've found a truth?
That's where my question is going, tying into that exactly.
Well, the way you know you found a truth is because the truth that you're seeking is the resonance of who you've become. That's the truth that you're seeking. And most people are trying to teach their children all the truths of all the other people.
Right.
In other words, you need to blend with that truth, and you need to blend with that truth, and please, 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 parents say, blend with the loudest, most powerful truths. Because they'll give you grief if you don't.
Right.
Where the truth that you are wanting to find resonance with is the expanded version of you, the source within you, you see. Any excuse you use for that blending is a perfect excuse.
Right.
But it's the blending with who you are that is the truth that you are all seeking.
So you allow everybody else to have their opinion, which I have no...
How could that which man calls God, if it is as we say, and it is, that source is holding you all as objects of attention and not freaking out about where you are, and yet you're in lots of different political parties, you're in lots of different religions, you're in lots of different lifestyle settings. In other words, if anyone does believe in that which he wants to call God, don't you have to accept that it is a benevolent God that is allowing in nature when you just look around at the sheer diversity of what's around you?
Absolutely.
Doesn't that let you know something of the nature of the source that is within you, you see?
So it's the truth behind the truth. In other words, what you determine as your truth individually, everybody has their own version of the truth that they're living, right? So that means what's behind, I guess the truth that I'm seeking is what's behind the truth. Because if somebody gives a definition to something that says, this is what I believe, so therefore it's true. And that may be true for them, but for yourself.
And they're accurate because when they believe it, it's their point of attraction. And their life experience will represent it. You find a belief, you offer the vibration of it, things that match it come to you, and you say, see, I told you it was true.
Right.
When Esther first began receiving us, she was quite excited because she has always been, as you are, a seeker of truth. And she thought, oh, good. Now Abraham can tell me who's lying. So she deliberately turned on the television judge show, a television judge. And she sat down, asked us to join her, and we watched a segment together. And then she said, who's telling the truth? And we said to Esther, there's a better question that you could ask. Which of these believes what they're saying? And we said to Esther, in this case, they both do. Different point of view. They saw it completely different. But they both believed what they were saying. Well, that was upsetting to Esther. Then how can anyone ever sort out the truth when two opposing opinions are both believed? Abraham, your criteria can't be right. You got to choose one or the other. And we say each individual is finding alignment with that which they are. So when you want something and believe it, there's no resistance. And when there's no resistance, it must become manifestationally evidenced, you see. And that's what humans want to call truth. Humans want to call things true that a lot of people can point out and agree upon. And we say, there's hardly any of those things that you all agree upon. They are rarer than you even want to know.
Wow. Wow.
It's like the inconsistency of the bottle of water being found in Barbara's bag when it's been there in the bottom of that bag for the last 5 flights. These things, in the way that you mean truth, are true. Mm-hmm. You are source energy, represented here in a physical body. You are a vibrational being more than you are anything else. Everything about what happens to you is about the vibrational offering that you are presenting, whether you're doing it purposefully or by default. Law of attraction is the manager of all of these vibrations and will bring to you whatever is dominant in your vibration. The better you feel, the more relaxed your vibration is, and the more you allow the dominance of the vibration within you. And when you offer little resistance by practicing feelings that feel good, by reaching for thoughts that feel as good as you can find in any moment in time, eventually you come into such alignment with the whole of who you are that you live life from that standpoint of attraction. And that's what everyone is seeking. You came into this body not subservient or less than the source from which you sprang. You came to explore and expand and to become more, understanding that as the source within you becomes more, that you would feel the vibrational variance which would give you the guiding light in order to come into alignment with who you are. Because the truth of your being is one of expansion. And without expansion, there cannot be the eternalness. And so it all fits together. You are an eternally joyful, expanding being, you see. And that's the only truth that matters. Who you really are is one who loves, one who is joyful, one who feels good. And so as you strive to come into alignment with that, and you have the manifestational evidence of it day in and day out, you're fulfilling your only reason for being. And what is that only reason for being? Joyous expansion. The vibration of a question and the vibration of an answer are two different frequencies. The vibration of a problem and the vibration of a solution are two different frequencies. So when you stop asking the question or beating the drum of the problem, now in the absence of that vibration, the solution can reveal itself to you. And you feel the relief of it the moment you let it go. So you just brought this conversation into a whole new level and to a whole new arena. Let's now say, make peace with your problem by just letting it sit where it is. And in doing so, the solution must show up. But if you keep examining the problem, talking about the problem, measuring the problem, speaking of the problem, you hold yourself in defiance to the solution that would be there if you weren't doing that.
Along a different line, but on the same thing, we use, as human beings, we use about 10% of our brains. And how does that fit in with us being in alignment or not being in alignment, being fully expressed as who we are, that sort of thing?
Well, who told you that? In other words, how are they measuring such a thing? They don't know what part of your brain's doing what part of what. In other words, they're just guessing at most of it. And rather than thinking about only utilizing 10% of your brain, you see, we would explain it to you that as they are attaching vibrational reading equipment to you, that's how they're coming to those conclusions. They're not factoring in the vortex part of you. If they were to put equipment on Esther when she's receiving Abraham, they would be amazed at the percentage of her brain that is being activated through this high energy frequency transmission. In other words, do you realize what's going on? And if they were to put the equipment on you as you're listening, as you found resonance with it, the same thing would be true of all of you.
Right.
And so what that measurement really is about is alignment or not. And so we're not really out of agreement with what many of them are saying, because most people are walking around not very much tuned into who they are. You know that when you think about the highs that you've had today. In other words, you've had more highs, more high good feeling today than you usually have in a normal day, because you've been focused and you've been resonating with the fullness of who you are. But on a normal day, the really high good feeling, yodeling down the canyon, yahooing feelings that you have are rather infrequent. And the observing and the criticism and the worrying and the frustration, that's a more dominant part of your day. And so it might be 10% in the vortex and 90% not. There may be a very much accurate correlation within that, but we would not assign it to the brain capacity or the brain function. We would assign it to the focus capacity and the focus function. And it is our promise to you that when you take it out of the conversation of thought and put it into the conversation of emotion, it's like sneaking in the back door in all of this. Even though thought comes first and emotion follows, it's always that way. In other words, you focus and the emotion follows. If your intention is to find an emotion that feels good, usually it will lead you to a thought that supports the emotion that you're reaching for. So it's a very helpful thing. That's why some of you have enjoyed this emotional scale that we've talked about. It's a very helpful thing to decide that you want to be happy.
I come from a large family. There's 8 of us kids, and I annoy my family with being happy. I mean, I do. And I don't know what to do with that.
Well, what you do about it is make peace with it. Because in some ways, we think that that's an assumption that is not accurate. In other words, they might be in a different vibrational place, but you're not always in the vortex place either. And so everyone is sort of the same in that you're in and out and in and out and in and out. But when you come to a conclusion, when you put a blanket statement over an entire family, and you come to the conclusion that you annoy them with your fun, that's an out of the vortex statement.
Yeah.
Where if you make peace with where they are, and then you just have fun at their expense. No, that's something very wrong. When you acknowledge where they are, you see, it wouldn't annoy you that your fun annoyed them if you weren't looking to them for some sort of approval that they're not giving you because they're annoyed at your fun.
Yes.
Isn't that a mouthful? And wasn't it brilliant? How much fun it is, or how rewarding it is, how satisfying it is, how aligning it is when you really get to that place where what you're reaching for is the emotion, not the approval of your family. Right. So you're having fun whether they do or not. It's a really fun thing, and you've seen it many, many times, where you're the one having fun. You've decided to have fun, and you're the one having fun, and you set up a sort of little vortex of fun around you, and it's contagious. All kinds of people that are loitering on the edge of their vortices get sucked in, and then it gets funner and funner and funner and funner until the cleverness and the timing of the conversation that ensues is just inspiring. And you're not wanting to take credit for it because it was a collaborative, cooperative, co-creational rendezvous manifestation of people in alignment with who they are. So next time you're having fun and they're not, and you notice that they're not, stop and say, I just let my attention to them put a damper on my fun. And then next time that the situation comes up, you'll be less likely to do it. Next time it comes up, you'll be less likely to do it. Until before long, you will find yourself this chronically aligned person who makes peace with where everyone else is, and who stands as a physical human example of everyone on the planet's inner being. And when you stand as a physical example of everyone on the planet's inner being, you have a really good chance of inspiring their alignment with their inner being as they are looking to you and feeling your complete, unequivocal, and unconditional appreciation of law and love of right where they are, right here, right now. You don't need to change anything for me about where you are or how you feel or what's going on. Right. In other words, you're there not having fun, and that's okay with me because I'm having enough fun for all of us. There you are in your meaningful life experiences, having offered me so much opportunity, and I just adore you. And as you begin noticing that, they'll love you for your love, even though they hate you for your fun. And it will all be the same thing.